Welcome to the Julie Salant Podcast, the place to reconnect to your heart and live your soul purpose. This is where you will find inspiring information on how to reconnect to your heart, get into mind, body, spirit alignment, and step into your personal power. Together, we will hear messages from the sacred animal kingdom, discuss how to reframe success that works best for you, and learn to step into divine flow, allowing you to do what your soul came here to do. Thank you for being here. And now, let's tune in to today's show.
Hi, and welcome to the show. I'm your host, Julie Salant, and today my guest is Ildiko SpinFisher. She is the founder of Life Retuning, a psychological energy-based multi-dimensional modality. She works with living energy systems, facilitating people globally to get empowered and enhance the quality of their lives. She specializes in working with entrepreneurs, and she is passionate about teaching healthy energy awareness in our ever-increasing technological world. Ildiko runs international online courses, masterclasses, and presentations. And we are back. It's Julie Salant. I am back with Ildiko of SpinFisher, of the founder of Life Retuning. This is a fascinating discussion. As I said before, I have worked with her myself, and what she does is pretty amazing. It's backed by science. And as you heard in the first segment, she really went through quite a bit of trauma in her own life before she discovered how she can look at our energy fields with data, science data, and really fine-tune where your blocks are, remove them, and clear you so that you're in alignment. So thank you for being here. This is part 2 of our show. I'm very excited to move on. And really, let's talk about, how do you see becoming energy, how can we become energy aware, and how can that benefit us individually, but also on a global level?
Yes, thank you, Julie. It's lovely to be back. So yeah, that's the real question. How do we bring quantum physics into our everyday lives? How can we use it and the laws of energy to improve the success of our lives and to upgrade our lives? So the first part of that is to do with our energy anatomy. So I mentioned already that we have an energy field, a human energy field, which extends way outside of the physical body. But that also breaks down to a very specific structure. So the structure is the what I call the auric layers, the layers within the aura. They actually vibrate up. The further they go away from the human body, the higher the level of frequency of those vibrations. They're vibrating faster and higher. So by the time we get to the edge of the energy field, they're vibrating at a very, very high level indeed. And that's the interface with the rest of the sea of energy, the energy matrix that makes up the rest of our world and our universe. But embedded in the auric layers is also the chakra system. Now, I work with 13 chakras, and they are energy exchange centers. They're like vortexes. That's the shape of them. And they spin energy in and spin energy out. And the important thing to know about energy and waves of energy is that they carry information. And when waves are they come together or they cross each other, that's called an interference pattern. And that's when energetic data is exchanged between those two waves. So all of that is going on within your energy field the whole time. Every experience that you have, your energy field is totally awake and responsive all of the time. So the number one thing to understand is that you are constantly responding on many different levels, not just your conscious mind. Your conscious mind only has a small amount of information that because it filters it down so that you are experiencing things within the realm of your belief structures. It's actually your mind that dictates how you perceive your world. You know, whether you feel that the world is a safe place or it's an unsafe place, whether you trust people or you don't, the level of love you are able to allow yourself, all of these are the domain of the mind, because our beliefs create our reality. What we believe is what we perceive, because the mind's number one need is to be proved right. And that can either be very scary or it can be very liberating, depending on which side of the fence you're on. But basically, the first important thing is that we need to cleanse our belief structures and make them healthy. We need to clear and dismantle the unhealthy and unhelpful beliefs that come from several directions. We have the beliefs that we inherit. You know,
Yes.
We've created this world based on the beliefs that we inherit. And some of those are tremendously unhealthy indeed. And it's time that they were eliminated from the consciousness field of human beings.
Yes, absolutely. Yes.
Secondly, it's about understanding a few things. I mean, I talk about the fact that people talk about happiness and unhappiness. How do you get happy? And I say you've got to dismantle the unhappiness before you can actually create the happiness. Because happiness is a habit. We have to actually create the habit of happiness in order to be happy.
Do you need to get rid of the unhappiness first? Because let's just say that in the morning you're feeling a little bit down, and then I do certain things. Maybe I'll listen to some music and I have to push through it, and then I get to a higher vibrational state. But you're saying, is it right that you're saying that we need to actually remove that unhappiness first, or will it, and if you remove it, will it come back?
It's all down to changing your perceptions. You see, when you change a belief from, for instance, I don't deserve to be happy, if you're actually running that in your unconscious mind as a belief because it built throughout your life for some reason. I mean, I find my clients, you know, a lot of them believe, even though they're not aware of it, they don't deserve to be happy, or it's not possible to be happy. That's another one. If you change and flip that belief to, I do believe it's possible to be happy, you will be attracting a very different set of experiences in. So I'm looking at that level of that linchpin, you know, which will transform everything. But you're right, because if you're raising your frequency through your own practices and you know about how to do that, that's already helping your situation. But the thing is, if you've got the underlying vibration, because again, thoughts are vibrational frequencies, if you've got that running and it's active and live, you're going to find that you have to pull yourself up from the state of unhappiness into happiness. Whereas if you take away those frequencies, there's nowhere down to go. That's the difference.
I understand. And that's what you did for me. You removed something. So this happens from thoughts, from beliefs that we inherit from our parents or anyone around us when we're small, and also from our own life experiences. But my question is, I've experienced this myself, and I know the listeners might think that this sounds very pie in the sky, but I can assure you this is true, and it really, really happens because I felt differently afterward. I guess my biggest question is, how do you see where those traumas are? How do you see the field when I can't see it? Is it something you trained yourself, and can anybody do it?
Anybody can do it. I'll answer this in two parts. First, I'm going to go back into when I was having my nervous breakdown. So I had a very weird thing happen to me, Julie. I found that I could only think an hour in advance. Everything beyond that was inaccessible to me. So I was living in survival mode for those 8 years. Which actually created a very interesting habit for me because, you know, there are a lot of books like Eckhart Tolle did the book about the power of now. A lot of people are striving to exist in the now moment. And I was given, it was a curse at the time, but then it became a gift because I actually developed the habit of living in the now moment because I had to. So once it was no longer an actual necessity of survival for me, I carried on existing in this now moment. So when you're in the now moment, you start to be able to experience the energy of your own energy field, the energy that runs your life much more, because you're not caught up in your mind so much, and you're not caught up in the past or the future. You're here in the now. So you're able to actually have that maximum experience. The second thing that happened to me was that I was going to get married, and a week before that happened, we were around some friends, a house of some friends, and well, let's put it this way: we had quite a lot of red wine to drink. Let's just leave it there. Enough that I managed to hit my head on the corner of my friend's piano and gash it. Oh. So this was sort of 2 a.m, rushed to A&E, had it glued. They've got this glue now. They don't stitch it always. They have the glue. Next morning, for the first time in my life, I fainted. I was on my own. My fiance had actually gone to work. I was on my own. And when I came to, I had the most extraordinary experience. All I could see was red. And don't worry, it wasn't blood. There was a red rug that I had fainted on. And all I could see was this sort of sea of red. And I was thinking, oh, what's that? Yeah, okay, that's an experience. I'm not quite sure what that is. Then I started asking a question, but it wasn't, so who am I? Oh, no. I went way beyond that. My question was, and what am I? What exactly am I?
What?
Yeah, I'd flipped so far out of my humanness that I was just pure energy. I didn't know what red was. I didn't know that I was a human being. I was probably for about 5 minutes. I was just in a very confused state because I just hadn't got a clue that I was a human and I was a woman, and it just gradually filtered back to me. But I
wow.
But what I experienced was that I was connected to everything, everywhere in that moment, or those few minutes. There was no distinction between me or anything else. And that actually was an experience that opened up something within me, an understanding that that was the actual reality. So since then, I haven't left that reality. So I am constantly aware of being in this sea of information, part of the energy matrix, and interconnected with everything, everyone, everywhere, from every time. It's just the way I am. So that certainly has helped, obviously, for me to be able to read that energetic data. And what I do is I have tools where I translate that down into human terms. So emotions, thoughts, physical states. So that's really how I operate.
That's incredible. And I would think that that's probably your greatest hidden untapped. That's your hidden resource and talent, because so many of us, well, we haven't had that experience. And I'm just wondering, and this is just kind of to throw you a quick curveball. So those of us like myself who can feel others' emotions, who are empathic, who can also speak to animals, is that because we are able to see a little bit further into that matrix than other people?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. Everybody can do this. And in fact, I'm sure you know about remote viewing. So remote viewing was actually created in one of the universities in the US, and then was taken on board by the military. And there's actually a book that was written by one of the trainers. He trained 23,000 operatives, military operatives, to remote view.
So, how can we best understand how you work with clients? Because I've experienced it, but how do you click into someone's energy field and see